Well, finally seated. Thanks again for the tickets, Robin.
No problem. Love old cartoons. And hanging out with my besties too? Great.
This guy, though? I mean, Scooby Doo, Looney Tunes, that I can understand.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, but feels a bit silly after the episode, doesn't it?
What do you say? I'm looking at you. With the glasses.
Who? Me?
Don't make me laugh. Yes, you.
Oh, he's done it now.
If you won't tell me, then I'll have to find out for myself. Roll!
Gosh! We've been made 2D!
Just like in one of my Japanese animes.
I think the phrase you're looking for is Scooby Doo. I saw this in Supernatural once.
Regardless what it's called, I think we look great, though. Why do I look so grumpy? Or why am I dressed like the Red Twilight?
Yeah, it's almost like I drew us. But how do we reverse this? I mean, animation costs too much for a shoestring budget. Though, I mean, nobody can actually see this.
Wait, I think I have an idea.
What is it?
Sorry, I forgot it. It must be because my personality is extra forgetful like this.
No, that's just you. That's our Robin.
Oh, that's a real thing? Right, okay. Oh, wait. The Doctor and Belinda, they got out being 2D by burning the film reel, right? I mean, they did a few more steps, but...
Yeah, but, I mean, we're in a podcast, not a film reel.
No, you don't understand it. We write this out, and we finish our discussion on Lux. We'll become more fleshed out. It's that, or we talk to our fans.
Oh, God. What if we meet Thomas? Not again. We'll never make it to the end of his essays. Option 1 is do all this, the podcast, and this will end.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that was my idea.
You mean the one you just forgot?
Forgot what?
Your idea from earlier.
Did I?
Yes! Okay, if this keeps going on, we'll end up going round in Hanna-Barbera circles, which is actually quite funny and a little bit ironic considering it's Disney money funding the show at the moment.
Agreed. Cue that intro!
Scooby-Doo!
Hello and welcome to an awful lot of running, a Doctor Who podcast.
Woo!
I'm Jack, one part of the usual hosting team, joined as always by Robin, published author himself, Robin Foale, and also by Star, our editor-in-chief. And with some rather terrible news this week, we wanted to hand over to Star to speak about an official statement that we endorse and we support.
Yeah, so earlier this week, the Supreme Court ruled that trans women are, in their view, not women. And we at An Awful Lot of Running want to make it incredibly clear. We are appalled by this decision and stand by all our trans friends and listeners. Speaking as a trans person myself, I will admit I am terrified by what this means. Life for us has already been incredibly tough as is. I find myself filled with dread and fear about entering public toilets. As of a few weeks ago, I had a transphobic attack on the train home from my queer group. And with this ruling, I can only imagine that may just be the first of many more to come. And while I and many other trans people are suffering, transphobes are out there partying, treating this like a victory with a champagne and cigars. This is not a victory. This is just the start of another battle that we will win. We will overcome. I was at a protest today, and the numbers of people who turned up in support for trans people versus the people who turned up against, which was like maybe one, if any, I genuinely saw none. But that proves good will prevail over the evil rhetoric of people like J.K. Rowling or Graham Linehan or James fucking Dreyfus. Trans rights are human rights. They always will be. Trans women are women. Trans men are men. Your identity is valid no matter what it is. And on behalf of everyone here, we want to make sure you know you are loved. We support you. We have your back. And to quote another franchise dear to my heart, Lord of the Rings fans will like this, and I cannot be more clearer when I say this, I am no man. And no matter what all fuckheads in court say, no matter what shitty writers say, no matter what anyone on the internet or in real world says, that will not change. I am a woman, whether you like it or not. Fuck transphobia, that is all.
Hear, hear. Trans rights are human rights.
Damn straight.
We An Awful Lot of Running endorse those words. That is our official statement. Let's talk about some fucking Doctor Who, shall we? So, as I was saying before, I am Jack, one part of the usual hosting team, and joining me as ever, like Zoinks, the Shaggy to my Fred. It's published author, Dungeon Daddy, Robin Foale.
I cannot do a Scooby Doo to save my life.
Okay.
Look, leave me to the whiting, okay? You know.
Yeah. And joining us as ever, our editor-in-chief, the Velma, to our team here, our Mystery Incorporated. It's Star.
Hello. You've just heard me rant quite a bit. I'm on fire today.
And you did an amazing job. But we are here today to talk about the latest episode of Doctor Who, Season 2, Episode 2, Lux, written by Rusty Davis, directed by Amanda Brottier, in which the 15th Doctor and Belinda face Mr. Ring-a-Ding, or as they're also known, Lux Imperator. So, one of the Pantheon. Straight up.
Best fucking episode.
Absolute cinema. I absolutely loved it.
Peak Doctor Who, peak media. Absolutely. Oh my God, I adored it.
It was everything that we wanted from the episode, and it just gave us exactly that, whilst also balancing so many other themes and the like, which is just wonderful. You know, we were debating like, oh, is this going to be like a really, really heavily sort of animated episode, or are we not going to get as much of it? But I think they really got that fine line between quality over quantity, because what we got was chef's kiss.
I want to use a term, but in an endearing way, which I think has been an issue with RTD2 so far, in particular this era.
Okay.
Where episodes have felt a bit of a hodgepodge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's felt that there's been too many elements and stuff. This felt like the perfect distillment of different themes and different things. You had racism, you had commentary on the fandom, you had, you know, the Pantheon being brought on and added to and expanded upon. And you also had the Belinda and the Doctor get to know each other more. This is like their second adventure. This follows straight on for the Robot Revolution. Mm-hmm. And it's brilliant, Doctor Who.
It's so great how they're able to balance all of those themes, and it doesn't feel like too many ingredients in the pot. It really does feel as if everything balances out to this perfect like aroma of flavors. Like I've been seeing a lot of people online saying how this is going to be like the kind of comfort episode of Doctor Who, how they're able to just so easily jump in, have fun, and just a real clear focus from start to finish. I did not at all throughout the whole process think that the episode was too quick or too slow. It just felt perfect to me personally.
I think that, again, to liken it to other episodes of R2D2 so far, I think the pacing was perfect in this. You know, it was only 44 minutes long. I really liked it a bit longer, but then I at the same time, I feel like it gets in, it does what it's supposed to say. Mr. Ring-a-Ding or Lux Imperator is one of the best villains we've had in the show, in my general opinion. Just instantly iconic and quotable. And like, let's face it, who hasn't, since watching the episode, been going, I'm Mr. Ring-a-Ding, like your how I sing. Don't make me laugh.
I have had that song stuck in my head for like the last few hours, and it's a bop. I tell you what, just it's glorious. It's absolutely glorious. Like
Marvelous.
the line, marvelous even, and there's some hard lines as well that come from this character. Like I'm jumping ahead already. I know this, but his line about going, "I am the last thing you see before the fall into abyss." I'm like, fucking hell, this is coming from Lux.
Yeah,
This is coming from
it's
Mr.
so
fucking
it's so
Ringading.
funny as well. Yeah, because like, and on like in the next scene from that, he's talking about how like, I'm a two-dimensional character. You can't expect backstory, and it's like, dude, you dropped like the hardest fucking line. Like to liken it to something like fucking okay. And I always use this one to come back to, but Dragon Ball Z abridged with Kami. The fuck's a Kami? It means God. Now bow.
Bow. It's-
You know?
oh,
Sick.
it's so true, and there's so many great aspects to this episode. I think we need to just throw ourselves right in, don't we?
Absolutely. Straight up at the start, I think it's one of my favorite cold opens to a Doctor Who episode ever. I think it's so, it gets in, it does the job, you're not there too long, it sets up the threat of Mr. Ring-a-Ding, and also just visually is so great, and you instantly feel that menace when he's talking about, you know, hey, I'm talking to you. Yeah, you with the glasses. Just everything about it. The set is fantastic, the costumes, the you know, the old timey having that sort of rubber house animation, you know, it's or rubber hose. It's just, I love it. I adore it.
It's not even it's not even that it takes me out of the scene. I think the only thing I find a tiny bit maybe too silly, and it's like the tiniest of nitpicks is just bounces off spoon, bounces off pin.
Right, but here's the thing. Right, here's the thing. Okay. Devil's Cord, there's a spoon. Empire of Death,
God.
there's a spoon. Right?
Oh my god. Where was it in the
see
giggle?
This?
Was there a spoon
Yeah,
in the
Tree,
giggle?
where's the spoon in the giggle? That's what I need to go back and find.
Answers on a postcard. Find the spoon.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I did not even make that connection. That's good though, and just the colors, the atmosphere that it creates, and I think we all kind of have this image on our head of what's a typical kind of cinema, especially for back then, and it's so great, and the animation on the screen with the way that the backgrounders move and the motions of the characters when they have that other character on screen who's so Betty Boop with the voice with like the exact same sort of pose with like
what is it? It's like Sally Sunshine or something.
no,
Sally.
yeah,
Sunshine.
that's it.
And right, and do you know what? Big one for me. I saw this beforehand, voiced by Mother O'Connell, who people who are fans of the musical Six was the original West End Anne Boleyn.
Oh my god, seriously?
Seriously.
Wow.
You know? So she's
Oh.
so you know. So hey, Robin, don't lose your head.
Funny enough, I just took my fiance to see the recorded version of that in cinema, so I have to tell her that because I sure love that.
Yeah. So it just sets up a fantastic opening. You know, we saw that shot in the trailer, I believe, at Christmas of Mr. Ring-a-Ding coming and just coming out into the auditorium there, and we all thought, oh, this is just going to be a thing in the cold open or something. But like, you know, instantly it was something which I personally was like, oh, I'm excited to see that. So the fact that he had a bigger role in the episode itself and was, you know, part of the pantheon as well, I really loved that. I did, you know.
I'm so grateful that was the case because I think a part of us was fearing, oh, is Mr. Ring-a-Ding just going to be the code open? And is the rest of it going to be like different, like Hollywood monsters or cartoon characters or characters coming out of movies? So the fact that they do have such a presence and like the process that went into it as well, for them to have spent months working on this, because this was frame by frame animation. They wanted to copy the Fleischer style of cartoons from the 1930s and 40s, and props to those animators. They do a bang up job. And they even, in fact, which is really, really impressive. Like, let me just make sure I got the right voice. So one of the people that worked on this was Neil Boyle, who was a 2D animator who also drew film for the 1988 classic Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So they actually had someone from that movie work on it, which was just like, damn, you know, they went on that.
You can totally see it in the way Mr. Ring-a-Ding moves. There's such a, you know, comparison there. And it's also, you know, that's cartoons coming to life and interacting with actors. Like, yeah, that's great. That's really, really cool. If I can say one thing, moving on to the opening, I really wish they'd given us an animated opening, just the one-off, you know, just, you know.
Like
wouldn't it have been cool?
Looney Tunes?
Like, well, yeah, like, you know, like how they've done with like the animations. They've done like the style of a Hartnell opening or the style of a Troughton opening, but then it's like the animated head, you know, comes into it as well. Wouldn't it have been really cool if they'd given us like a 2D animated version of the Doctor Who opening there as well? But again, it's budget and it's, you know, it's style over substance, you know. But hey, it would be cool.
I thought we were going to get that, which is why I posted like a little vote on my Twitter and was like, yo, do you think we're going to get like a unique opener for this one like we did in Devil's Cord? While it would have been fun if they included it, I don't think it takes away anything from the episode.
No,
if anything, I think it helps to keep those scenes kind of separate, and I think that kind of works.
Yeah, totally. We come to the TARDIS then, obviously, with the Doctor and Belinda literally just having finished the Robot Revolution. They're still in the same costumes that they were in. You know,
Hold
the
on,
Doctor's
no 6 month gap.
Yeah. Funny that, you know. And it's you know, it's funny as well because you mentioned the Devil's Cord there, Robin, and it's so easy to make comparisons between this and the Devil's Cord. You know, so much so that some people are sort of saying that season 2 is very akin to season 1, but you know, it's like RTD went, you know, let's do season 1 again, but better for season 2, which I think is not entirely fair. I just think it's interesting that we've got, you know, the comparison here between these episodes, you know. And we've spoken about this a bit last week as well, you know, how the Robot Revolution and this, and then the Well following this were very similar to the sort of structure of the previous series, but, you know.
I get that. I do. And now, while there are comparisons, I think it's a very unfair way of comparison. Like, we're only 2 episodes in to a whole season after all. There could be similarities, but, like, my God, you know, they're still going to be, like, their own episode. And I loved both Lux and the Devil's Cords for very different reasons.
Yeah, no, exactly, yeah. I mean, I'm going to straight up say that I prefer Lux as an episode, but it's not to the detriment of Devil's Cord.
Oh, you know? No.
It's just, you know, it's a thing anyway. But yeah, no, the Doctor's there talking to Belinda, and it's a really sweet scene, and I love the continuity of being like they're literally in the same costumes. There is no 6 month gap, Star, which is nice as well.
Oh my God, it's like they learned.
Yeah, and then obviously, you know, the Doctor's saying how he, you know, there's something is happening, which meaning he can't get back to May the 24th, you know, which is the day that Belinda's been taken from, and it's interesting. You know, there's even like it's really quite heartfelt, that bit as well, because there's even a little bit. I think they play a small part of Amy's theme in the episode there as well.
It sounds like Amy's theme, but it's not specifically Amy's theme. It's one of the tracks from the Pandorica. I can't name the exact one. Editing me. If you find out, please cut in and tell me. Hello, past me. This is future you. It's Roman Paradox and the TARDIS Can't Take Off from the Pandorica Opens and the Husbands of River Song, respectively. Thank you. I hope I did that. If I didn't, I'm just going to look a bit silly.
But no, it's it's interesting because I've seen again Twitter. I've seen people dragging Murray Golds for like reusing tracks and sampling tracks, and I think no, I'm a big fan of that. That's a really nice way of doing fan service without the fan wank, if you ask me personally.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, if you've got such a backlog of music that's for this show, you're more than welcome to use it. Creating music is a big thing.
Yeah,
there is a lot of time that's going into it, and if you've not got a lot of time, it is okay to use your back catalogue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then obviously the Doctor and Belinda realize they've landed in 1952, Miami as well, America, which is, very nice. And then they have a sequence which is very similar to Devil's Chord, which I think, again, a lot of people got annoyed about this when it went out as, in press and stuff. I think it's a fun little reference. It's literally blinking, it's done. Of them going through the one exit and then coming back out the other, having been in the TARDIS. And my God, they look fantastic in the costumes they're wearing.
Those costumes are beautiful. Like, to have such gorgeous costumes that fit the period as well. Like, if you're gonna go for that location and time, damn straight you want to look the part.
Mm-hmm. I really want to take a second as well before we get into the episode proper, which is the opening here, to just talk about for a second how amazing is Varada Sethu? How amazing, how much of a just breath of fresh air is she and Belinda as a companion? I think we touched on it last week. But I really want to take a minute just to say that I've only had Belinda for 2 episodes, but if anything ever happens to her, I will kill you two and then myself.
She is so great because she's not necessarily like a follower. She's a go-getter. She will push things. And then she doesn't even want to explore the scary cinema with the creepy projectionist. She doesn't want to follow those plot hooks. She just wants to go back into the TARDIS and be like, nope, I am not following this Dungeon Master's clear examples for storytelling. I just want to get in the TARDIS and go. But it's like,
Yeah. I love that, and he brings out, he calls it the Vindicator and Vinda reference, Vinda mention in the year 2025,
Vindication.
Yeah. Doctor's dad still there in our hearts, you're right, and it's they realize they're all dressed up with no place to go because it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, like 4 a.m. and the Doctor's sort of, Belinda says, "Oh, you're Scooby Doo, aren't you?" And he's like, "Honey, I'm Velma," which is such a cool line, as well. But it is, where she's like, "Oh, just get me home." But he's like, "Yeah, but like, this is kind of what I do. Like, I sort of stuff out," and it's. I'm going to be honest, they do a lovely job of setting up the episode. I think it works really well. It flows really well. My interest skyrockets the second they get into the theater and we meet Mr. Ringerding proper.
Also, I'm gonna quickly rewind before we get into the cinema, because I think something that I did really enjoy is the fact that when they land and they realize it's 4 a.m., the Doctor's first instinct is looks at both of them to go, okay, maybe it's good that it's 4 a.m. because the time period, and they're actually addressing the racism, which something RTD1 would never have fucking done.
Yeah,
cough.
Yes, yeah. And also, I love how that then carries over then into the scene in the diner, which is a really heartfelt scene, and as a parent, got me a bit choked up. Imagining myself in that situation because, God, I can't imagine. It's your worst nightmare as a parent. It really is. But I really loved how that followed through. I think it's the perfect way to do it without making it the whole focus of the episode. They're acknowledging it as a terrible time in history for racism and for persecution of minorities, which is disgusting. It's so great that we've moved on as a civilization. So it's great. I will say though, I still want to hear people of color having their voices about that though. Personally, I think it's great that RTD did it. I want to hear people of color having that story with the Doctor though.
I'm very much looking forward to. I've mentioned on previous pod that I like watching the reactions to the episode because I watch like a lot. I watch Blind Wave. I watch. I can't even fucking remember the name of the others, but I watched a lot. It's just I look up Doctor Who reaction. That's me. Sorted. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what people are going to say because there's a few people of color that I follow that do the reactions, and I'm looking forward to those.
I'm really glad they did it. Sorry, Robin. Please.
No, that's just following up from that. It was exactly it. Like they needed to bring that up because of the time period, and not only do we get a really nice scene with the mother, with the worker at the diner, all these characters in this episode, they feel very human. They feel like they add a lot to the scenes that they're in, but they never take away from anything. In fact, the scene with the mother not only reminds us, the audience, of, oh yeah, the Doctor needs to like save the day and save these missing people, but it's also, not only does it remind us as audience members, but it also sets up a little scene later on and how you can spot early on that it's actually false. And I reckon when I eventually get round to watching it a second time, because I've enjoyed my Easter Sunday with family watching it for the first time, and what a great way to watch it. I'm going to look forward to rewatching that and sort of picking out more of these things much sooner because they've just done such a good job of that.
I watched it 4 times.
You were prepared for this one.
Yeah, I loved it. I absolutely adored it, and each time I've watched it, I've loved it more and more. So this is very much a new classic for me in terms of Doctor Who. So yeah, obviously we have the whole setup then as well. Like there's a creepy caretaker in this abandoned building. It's so fucking Scooby Doo. I love how they do that. And then the second they get in there, it's instantly dispelled because the caretaker's just a fucking a prisoner there himself. You even see, in his projectionary room, there's a little bed set up there as well. So he's obviously been stuck in there for the 3 months where it's been all, chained up and stuff.
I've missed that actually. Oh, I'm going to look forward to seeing that.
You only watched it once, you twat.
All right, fuck off.
Be fair to him, he wouldn't remember otherwise.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But yeah, and then obviously, the Doctor and Belinda are looking through the theater, through the picture house, the cinema, your little English word, so sweet. I love the guy in the diner. We then see the intro, which people probably would have seen on social media already because they put it out there. Mr. Ring-a-Ding stepping up behind the curtain and singing his song and having the great little scene with the Doctor. And hashtag this week on our cover, I'm beaming at you. Just beautiful stuff. Alan coming back to Doctor Who after the Witchfinders, so many years ago. RTD in Unleashed talks about how he's such a fantastic actor and how it's like, it'd be too soon to bring him back, in person. But as a voice, he's a great voice actor, and it's really does show here. Just instantly making this character iconic. He could have been the Doctor at one point. Literally, RTD offered him the job and he turned it down. So
that I did not know. That's really interesting.
That's like an early cannon buster.
Oh, we're really getting treated with this one.
I busted him that a bit early. You're right.
No, Jack. No.
Nuts were so last week.
D's.
That was so last pod. No, not podcast, but last spin-off series.
Spin-off series, you say? Some sort of Dimensions and Daleks? That's available on YouTube right now for those interested in watching.
Why are you plugging the podcast on the podcast? It's
Well,
People might have started this one and want to know where
do
to
it on
go.
Who Knew. Do it on Who Knew. You plug the podcast there on something else, not on the actual thing that we're doing right now. If someone's listening, they know. They know.
well, maybe I'll do it twice, Jack. You know, maybe this is someone's first viewing of us and our wacky antics, and they go, "Ooh, what's this magical concept of dimensions and Daleks? Maybe I would look this up." And maybe I'm being very flamboyant right now because I'm going into my dungeon master mode. But let us move on and say how amazing Lux is, not only as a voice, but as a design, as this 2 foot tall character that has so much presence. And my God, like we already know that Shooty and Fuada, yeah, thank you. Like they're already phenomenal actors, but to interact with something that's not there, which would just have been a stick or this kind of cutout of the characters we saw in the behind the scenes. My God, do they really sell their performances with this character? It's so good.
It's so good. I think the animation for him is spectacular. Like genuinely so brilliant, so fluid. It's so weird that he's a 2D character in a live action space, but he never once feels like wrong in that environment.
No, far not.
I think that speaks so well to the production and the VFX behind it and the animation itself that even though he's there, you don't think, oh, this is kind of janky. You're just like, wow, you know?
No, when they said that they spent months working on it, you could tell they spent months working on it.
I also want to mention the sound design because every little movement has its own little sound to them. The adjusting of the hat, even an arm turning up, it all has its own individual noises, and it's just really, really well sound designed.
Belinda says it as well. Like, even like, he's got his own soundtrack. Like, when he's crying, and it's like the tears there. It's like, oh, it's.
Was it just me, or was the Doctor's look kind of referencing the fact the Doctor can hear the soundtrack as well?
Yeah. I like to think that he hears like 15 in his head anyway. Like, I know, like the reason we hear "I'm the Doctor" so much during the 11th Doctor era is just because Matt Smith's there, just going like in his head.
Oh my God, that's great. Also, we get.
Sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
No, you go first because I'll be going on to like the next scene with my one.
Oh no, I was going to say that bit when he slips under the door into the projectionist room and gets the fire in his hand. Having the projectionist saying that he brought his wife back, or the image of his wife back, which is really, again, really touching, beautiful scene. Tend to be like
perfect amount of time.
So cool, so good. Again, the pacing is so. I think it could be studied this episode in that this is how you do, good Doctor Who pacing, because it does. I don't think anything lags. Like even when you get to the big scene that everyone's talking about the episode, even when you get there to the meta bit, I think it does a really good job of working with the pacing personally,
And I'm glad that you brought that up because that perfectly segues into what I was going to say with like that little scene with Mr. Pye dancing with his wife and how she starts off in black and white before embracing her and she's just filled with color. It's such a beautiful scene. It's just that perfect length of time. It doesn't need to go on for any longer. We don't need any other details about Mr. Pye. In fact, we don't even need him for much of the episode. But each of these characters just had like that sort of perfect amount of time where they weren't taken away from the narrative, but added so much more depth. And I think that's a great episode for that.
Oh yeah, and I love as well, how it's, we're tying back into the Pantheon there as well. The Doctor has the whole bit about, they're reminiscing later on. We literally have flashbacks to the Giggle and to The Devil's Cord and Empire of Death. It's really cool to see that. And how he said, no, the Pantheon, the rules of play are there. You need to tell me, how to beat you. And Lux kind of has his like, he bends the rules, which I think is really cool. Rather than,
he tells them with a question.
Yes, yeah, which I think is really cool, because I think it'd be really annoying if the wrestler was just setting up, or how do you beat these gods? You ask them how you beat them, and then you do it. It's it's cool that never once does the Doctor have to ask Sutek how to beat him, for example. He just does that, and it works. I think it's cool that we're not being so constrained with the defeat of these things, because at the end of the day, it's they're beaten by how the wrestle determines they're beaten. It's the old story of like, well, how'd you beat a vampire? Robin, how'd you beat a vampire?
Holy water.
Yeah, okay. Star, how do you beat a vampire?
By picking him up and using him.
Okay, yeah, maybe. No, you beat a vampire however the fucking way you want to beat a vampire, because they're fictional. You beat them however you want. That's what it is.
Yeah,
and
it's going back to comic books. It's whoever writing will determine who can win in a fight. Because at the end of the day, whoever's writing is treating it as their toys in the toy box, smashing them together.
Exactly. And let's face it, if you've got the writer of Spider-Man writing Spider-Man versus Superman, Spider-Man's going to win, despite the fact it makes no sense.
Yeah, no, completely. And we knew that Lux was going to be like part of this sort of pantheon and the like this powerful entity. But for them to fit in the laugh, and it all fitting back into the "don't make me laugh," and it's just getting that little, it's so good. It's so good just to hear that little, like, that little laugh that just gets your blood pumping.
Yeah. And obviously we then come to the thing that I was most excited for the episode, with the Doctor and Belinda, much like we are for this episode, are animated. And straight away, character designs look amazing. If you listen to that bit as well, Murray is playing like a kind of like cartoony version of the 15th Doctor's theme.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Really cool. And the whole fact that, we're two-dimensional. I can't think because I'm two-dimensional. And then to become 3D is to, they have to add depth to themselves. They have to be sad and things like that. And I will say, small gripe.
Okay.
I'm not just a Time Lord. I'm the last of the Time Lords.
Yeah.
Really? 20 years later.
He knows the Master's still out there. He knows the truth's there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like, come on, guys. It doesn't have the same fucking weight that it did 20 years ago, does it?
No.
And I get it. And I get, obviously the genocide itself with Spyfall and the Timeless Children is horrible, obviously, because what it is. That fucking word itself, genocide, is not great, obviously. But I just, last the Time Lords thing, I hope we don't come back to it again now with this series. I hope it's just, and if we do, I hope it's a new Time Lord villain that's, involved in things.
No, I very much hope so too. And bringing it back round to what they're actually saying, like, it's great when the villain isn't just, isn't it cool that we did this 2D animated villain? Hey, it's like, no, they actually expand on that. They go with like, well, what if they kind of have like this almost like two-dimensional dialogue when they are 2D, in particular for the Doctor and the companion, and it's just like, that's smart and funny, and it's adding extra depth to the episode, especially when they start to expand out. They become more realistic.
It's actually great character work, because the Doctor and Belinda haven't really had the chance to slow down and actually talk about the situation. You know, Belinda's there saying, like, I'm worried you're not going to be able to get me home. And the Doctor says, I'm worried I'm not going to be able to get you home. And if I can't get you home, does that mean there's something going wrong on Earth right now that I can't help with? And it's like, oh, okay, I like this. And yeah, obviously it's finale baiting, but it's a good way of doing it.
It is, but it's also, and I don't know if this was intentional or not, but if you look back at very old cartoons, they weren't like that in-depthful. You know, you had like a very typical cartoon of a cat chasing a mouse and they whack each other with mallets or something. You know, very simple concept. But as you see, like, they get more and more in depth, like more shading, more outlines, becoming more three-dimensional. Even like Mr. Wingerding at the end, when he becomes that fucking like terrifying 3D version of themselves, they show more depth to them. They show more of their sides, and that reflects how animation has grown over the years. And they're not just treating them as cartoons for kids. No, animation has a medium for all sorts of audiences, all sorts of storytelling. And I think that's just a very subtle, brilliant way of them expanding that and showing that through them developing out of these 2D personalities. It's great.
It's also saying that Disney need to stop the live action remakes because they look terrible.
What? You mean you don't want to go and see Snow White and the 7 horribly CGI dwarfs? Oh, no.
Yeah, my daughter wanted to see it. Anyway, the Doctor and Belinda think they realize how to stop the episode, stop things by moving the frames and what have you. And they come to, the red herring part where they step out and they think it's the theatre, or at least Belinda does. And then they have a member of the NYPD and the mum coming through being like, yeah, they know something. Something's wrong here. And the Doctor instantly is just, you can see on his face the whole time, he's just waiting for the penny to drop, where he's just like, really? Like, really? I love that. Really, it's really nice to have that bit happen,
It's great because it's just, I'm trying to figure the right technical words for this, because I need to rewatch this again, but I think it's either the color palette or it's the camera angles or something. Yeah, it's something like that where
there's little clues there in that, definitely. The way it's framed, definitely, that it's sort of like, this isn't the same place you're in before.
Because I picked that out straight away and I was like, oh, something's different here. And then when the mother was such a twisting personality, I was like, no, that's too abrupt. And it's so good. But it's also, Mr. Wingerding would play on that. They would play on that. And I
love that. And then obviously moving the frame again. And I think it's one of my favorite parts of the episode, which I think on paper, this is one of those things that did leak, right? And this, unfortunately, is something which I heard about, but I heard like a rumor version of it. Okay.
Oh.
The meta bit where the Doctor and Belinda step through the TV and are in the living room of 3 Doctor Who fans, right?
Right.
The leak, or like the version I heard, the rumor was that it was going to be real Doctor Who fans, like featured there in that bit, where like recognizable Doctor Who fans, where if you know the Doctor Who fandom, you go, oh, hang on a second, that's that, and that's that, and that's that person, which inherently I was so against, because there's already a big problem with this fandom with sort of like imposed hierarchy, yes, where some people even apply it to me, because I have a reasonable sized number of followers on a dying fucking website, they're like, oh, Jack is a big Twitter person. I'm like, no, I'm just a person. You know, I'm not really, you know, I'm no better a Doctor Who fan than anyone else. I'm not. So it would be worrying, I think, as a precedent to have, you know, let's say, for example, it was me on that sofa, right? It would be really worrying because people would be then flocking to me, you know, because they'd be like, oh, Jack is in such a way connected with the show. If I'm friends with Jack, then I'm close to that. You know, it's you know, because that's just how people work, unfortunately. But what I think happens, because they have free actors and because they play it so earnestly, number one, they're not taking the piss out of Doctor Who fans. They're not taking the mick out of their audience. They show just how much Doctor Who means to us, right? They show something which I'd forgotten, something which I think I've become jaded about. Here's me on my soapbox a second. I apologize.
Sure.
Need to, but I owe so much to Doctor Who as a show, as a franchise. I wouldn't have been on this path with Robin, you know, without Doctor Who. I wouldn't have met you, Star. I wouldn't have so many friends that I have now, which 5 years ago I did not have. I did not consider myself someone to have many friends. I had Robin, you know, who, you know, we kept in contact as much as we could. I had other friends as well, but I felt so lonely. Now I have so many people that if I feel lonely, I can pick up the phone, I can go on Discord, I can message someone and have a conversation with someone because of Doctor Who. So for the three characters there to say that we love you, Doctor, something which we all do. We love the Doctor. We love this character. It's why we, you know, we watch all these episodes. We digest these stories. And we met our best friends because of this show. It just really rang true to me, you know. And even the bit of being like, you know, people say we're a bit annoying because let's face it, Doctor Who fans,
we're a bit annoying.
We are fucking annoying. We are annoying, you know. Some more than others, you know.
I also like the fact that one of them directly mentioned having been spoiled it through leaks, and it's like, yeah,
right, isn't it? Yeah, and again, I'm someone who hates leaks. I've spoken about it before. There's a big problem with people on Twitter and Blue Sky and other stuff talking about fucking leaks as if it's out there, as if it's promotional material. No. If you have a leak, talk about it in private. Like, fucking put it out there for people to see, you know, because that's how I heard about this. That's how I heard rumors about this. Thank God it was what it was, because I think it works really well for what it is. And I think actually as well, you know, the bit where it's really lovely. The Doctor and Belinda sit down there having a cup of tea with three Doctor Who fans. And it's like, oh, what are your favourite ones then? You know, and they, you know, straight up, number one, what three fans of Doctor Who are going to agree on their favourite fucking episode? And also, you fucking normies, Blink's my favourite. Like, fuck off.
I would have loved it if one of them had said Love and Monsters, and they just turned to them and just been like,
how funny would it have been if people had been like, you know, if they were like, oh, Heaven Sent, and it was like, what, the one where I was tortured for 4.5 billion fucking years? Or Creature from the Pit, the one where I suck off the green monster.
Belinda just turns to them and is like, do I need context for this, Doctor? It's like, whoa, context, honey. No.
What I love about it, though, is that they all say Blink. And I think, okay, in this instance, it dispelled a bit of the perception of RTD's marvelous ego for me personally, right? Because how easy would it have been for him to go Midnight, you know, or something else? He purposely goes, they all go Blink, and it's almost as if he's admitting this shadow of Moffat that, you know, how, because so many people, you know, myself included, think of Moffat as the GOAT in terms of showrunner and storyteller in terms of modern Who. I just think it's interesting, you know, and I quite like that, you know?
It's also worth noting that while this scene happens, they're using Moffat era music.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, was it Sad Man in a Box they play?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which is beautifully placed, beautifully done. What I will say, another thing about those Doctor Who fans, why the fuck are their collection sets in the wrong order?
Why is there everything in wrong order? I looked at their shelves. Their normal series, like new series RTD1, all out of order. They have 2 volumes, I think, of Series 1, Volume 2.
I need a proper deep dive on that set. I need to see it all properly. But it really irked me that I was like, they've got season 2 after Pertwee. Like,
Meanwhile, me as a
we
casual
are so
Doctor-
annoying, aren't we? You know. What I will say,
Meanwhile,
instantly. Do you know what stuck out to me straight away? It's so nerdy. I went, that's the fucking Keith Time box set.
I love how
I had a good look at the episode earlier, and I love that they've got a fucking man trap poster.
Yes, the goats, the MVPs.
Eat the witch.
Oh yeah. So
Here's you two losing your minds as like mega Doctor Who fans, being able to spot these things, and meanwhile, me, the casual, is just like, oh yeah, I noticed these things.
do you see the mugs as well? The K9 mug had a Mondas t-shirt, a unit t-shirt, a Meep t-shirt. Which, by the way, I saw someone being like, "Oh, it's so annoying. Why the fuck have they got better Beat the Meep merchandise than we do in real life?" Excuse me, I have a fucking pocket Beat the Meep t-shirt. Fuck you. It's brilliant. R.I.P. Beat the Meep plush.
So, I don't want to take away from anything that you just said about this scene, Jack, because I think you've done wonderfully with describing it just now. I have to say, the first time I saw this, it for a second.
So the only time you've seen it.
Yeah, my only time I've seen it. But when it began, is what I should say, is it did take me out for a second because I was really kind of scared, like, oh, how meta are we getting? Is this gonna be like really sort of fan wanky? But I think as the scene went on, I think it didn't diverge from the rest of the episode because a part of me was really scared if this was going to be the rest of the episode, and a part of me was really going to be afraid of if it was going to be canon that Doctor Who was just a TV show or something that they'd watched. And actually, for it to be the twist of it's just another mind game, and actually they're disappearing by the end of it is just like oh, okay, you had me scared, which took me out for a second, but
I think-
actually.
Yeah, what I think they do with that bit is what I think is really well. As opposed to breaking the fourth wall, I think they scrape it. You know? Because they play it. It's so meta, and I love a bit of meta text. I do, you know. But I think it's just enough. They're like, oh, actually, this is fake. We're not real, you know. And then it's the whole idea that the Lux has created this situation, created them, but he obviously doesn't know his own power or its own power because it's created them too well that they've then learned from the Doctor that they're like, oh fuck, this is how you beat him, and here you go, and then we love you. I got so choked up at the bit where Lizzie's goes, we love you so much, and brings it down, because they are, we effectively sacrificing themselves so the Doctor and Brilliant can get out of this. And I was like, again, yeah, that's us as Doctor Who fans. We fucking love the Doctor, and this is beautiful.
No, they did a great job of sending that off. Oh, yeah.
Wait, so Doctor Who fans aren't real? Then what the hell is...
One thing I wish they'd done is when they were sort of flicking through the wheel, I wish we got like bigger letterboxing in like the screen, so that when they sort of go towards the screen and sort of climb out, if their hands could have actually reached over the letterboxing and sort of done that kind of 3D effect of them coming through the TV.
Oh,
I think
like
that,
Wonka Vision, yeah.
yeah, basically, that's not why I was thinking, but yeah, that's basically exactly it.
Nice.
Just, but to have that kind of added 3D effect, which is what they do in 2D movies to make them pop out, is going over those bars. That would have been so good, but that's just like a very sort of nitpicky sort of gripe.
I will. Did you watch it, you two, and kind of hope that like they would just step through, like into like did you just think like, oh, like for a second, did you just go maybe like maybe it can happen?
Yeah,
I got my hopes up, okay? I wanted to be in the living room when it happened, okay? I wanted to be the Doctor Who fan they had a
I
cup of
wanted
tea
to be in
with.
the room where it happened. Yeah. Obviously, then they're back at the the theater, the picture house. The Doctor's burned his hand. Slight gripe here. Saying the bi-generations left him a little bit of energy that he's been saving just for this situation. Bro, you were stepping on a fucking landmine.
Yeah.
You couldn't have done something there.
It's been months, hasn't it? It's been absolutely months since that
years.
happened.
Well, no,
yeah.
Years for the Doctor, actually. Yeah, years for the Doctor, probably.
And someone brought this up actually online, and it would be great if it does turn out to be true. Someone bringing up, well, this could be that this is like a very small little instance showing that off, just so as it comes back later in the season. Like it actually has some plot relevance.
It's either that, or in my head, it's RTD setting himself up to be like, oh, how can the Doctor survive what Lux does to him? It's because he has this extra pool of energy, and that's what Lux uses, as opposed to...
It could be that, yeah.
Which is what I said this to Star as well. If we're doing nitpicks, it's very nice as well. I do kind of wish we'd seen more animation styles, but again, I understand budget and time and things. It would have been really cool to see the Doctor and Belinda sort of click through different animation styles, but it is what it is,
Yeah, no, we got a little taste of it, but I completely get what you mean, Jack.
And then again, Mr. Ringerding making an appearance again. Lux, absolutely beautiful, stringing up the Doctor with the film reels, which, by the way, the film reels, like, guys, are you fucking stupid? Just, they can't be that strong. Just job done,
Yeah.
Shining the light through him, the light of the Time Lord, obviously, then being imbued into Mr. Ringerding, into Lux, which is such a cool fucking visual. I love the bits, and I'm sure we'll gush over this sequence anyway, but the bit where he first starts to become 3D and you start to see all the polygons like forming inside him, like you see like the grid inside. Oh, beautiful stuff.
It's so good, and I think they did a great job of going, well, we could still make him sort of look that kind of fun sort of cartoony character, or we could make him an absolute freakish abomination that will make all the kids just absolutely terrified and have nightmares that night. Let's go for the latter. Yeah.
Again, it's really bold that they're using Disney money to make a commentary on the live action remakes of those Disney films. It's really bold, that they're doing that.
It's pretty much, but it does add to the fact that it's like, oh yeah, this cartoon character is a threat, and the fact that they are becoming this monster is like, damn. But and the fact we get that, and then we get such an interesting end. It's not like this huge epic sort of action-packed thing. We obviously see Mr. Pie sacrifice himself, which is like really sad in itself. Yeah. But
also all those film canisters, which I've seen so many people be like, that one was Marco Polo.
Yeah.
That one was Dalek's master plan. Guys, it's 1952. Doctor Who hadn't even been on TV at that point. So Doctor. You're wrong. Screw you.
I've seen those posts as well. I love those.
But no, I love that bit where Belinda's knocking on Reginald Pye's door, and he's there with the film canister, and he looks up, and it's the vision of his wife handing him the matchbox. It's, she says, very akin to Rogue last series. Come find me, and I cried. Didn't take much for me. I cried, didn't I?
Oh, bless.
Fuck you.
No, I'm saying that's a nice thing. I'm genuinely being sympathetic. Fuck you. The podcast here love each other truly, but sometimes you just have to tell them the fuck off.
No. But no, yeah, I love but the visuals of straight up. First of all, Mr. Ringding growing, becoming 3D, becoming this monstrous, terrifying creation, to then the sunlight hitting him, and him, you see it in the eyes before anything else, the little yellow ovals appear in his eyes, and he just transcends and grows and grows and grows, and it's such a beautiful ending for this character. I really hope we do see him come back at some point. Personally, I think he's great, really, really great. But to see him transcend like that, he's like, I am everything. I am nothing. It's effectively truly becoming a god, and he gets what he wants in the end, but actually it works out for the Doctor in this situation.
It's such a unique ending as well, because they could have done another kind of, not to put like this as a comparison's sake, but they could have done Devil's Cord again, where they sort of warp him into a film wheel or something, with him sort of trying to claw out. That I feel like was kind of like the obvious way of ending it, which I don't think would have been bad either. But
and then they would have had to then bind the film reel in salt and all this shit, and wouldn't it? Yeah, but no, it's like I'm glad that it's something different, and the whole scene of them, all the 15 people. Funny that it's 15 people, the 15th Doctor saving them, isn't it? 15 people coming out of the picture house. It's beautiful stuff, isn't it?
One thing we've also not touched upon. Not only have they chosen this character to come out with this movie screen, which is this classic 1930s, 40s design cartoon, which is perfect for the era of the 50s, but they then talk about nuclear bombs, and they tie that into the narrative, and they tie into the fact oh, that's the biggest source of light, and I just want to use that. It's again, that is so clever.
Totally tying it back into the pantheon with, you look at the toy maker, you look at Maestro. Maestro wanted that nuclear winter. It's and and obviously that tied back into Appearance of Mars. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Don't you look disapproving, Star? Don't you look disapproving of George Lucas? How dare you? And then obviously, the Doctor and Belinda then leave, and we have the Susan Twist. Mrs. Flood appearance for the week. Going, look at this. You want to see a real show? Watch this. And the TARDIS disappearing, and she gets the great line of being greatest show, around, or greatest show on Earth, something limited run though, ends May the 24th. And with how everything seems so contentious at the minute, I really fucking hope that's not a super meta reference, which actually isn't, because I think the finale actually is on the 31st, but still.
The finale starts on the 24th.
Yeah. And obviously in universe it's set then, but still, yeah. I still have yet to care about Mrs. Flood. I'm sorry. I love Anita Dobson. I think she's doing a great job, but I just don't give a shit. I really don't.
That's fair. But I will say, on this appearance of her, I did think it did catch me out for a minute, because the credits came on, and I was just like, really? That's it? And that's fucking a poor ending. Oh, they're alive! Okay, cool.
Oh, it's great, isn't it? I loved that bit. Before we then obviously get the trailer for next week, it was, it got me. It got me as well. Even so much so that I thought the bit, because you can hear Lizzie said like, "Oh, that was rather good, wasn't it?" Yeah, I thought it was like the continuity announcement.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, ah.
And then they turn and it's them, and I was like, yeah. So that was really cool. Doctor Who fans continue to exist. Get in. Hopefully, if they ever appear again, and I kind of hope they don't, they sort out their fucking DVD collection.
They'll make it worse for next time.
That's the real villain of season 2.
Yes, yeah.
Also, beside Polish Jr.
Yeah. Also, like, come on, guys. I couldn't see any 13th Doctor stuff there. Like, be fair.
Yeah, no, I paused at every different angle, could not see it. The only time I saw 13's logo was on the collection sets, and that was it.
Nah, it's not enough, is it?
It might just be slightly outshot and they thought they got it, but I couldn't see any.
Maybe, again, this is why I need a deep dive on that set and didn't get in the behind the scenes. So hopefully they can release something after where they really go through and have the set designers like talk through. It'd be really cool because it's a really nice little set, and that sets us up for the Well next week, which I'm excited for. Well. But we'll see. Yeah, all's well that ends well. Yeah, but we'll talk about that when we get to it because I don't want to address any potential spoilers or leaks that happen in there. But
the Doctor's in it.
God damn it, Star.
Yeah.
Absolute cinema. And do you know what? Going into this, I was gonna say it's the highest 8 out of 10 I could give it. Like it's the peak of it. Fuck it. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I am.
Damn.
I adored it. There's just enough little nitpicks for me personally to bring it down a little bit, but it's Doctor Who at its finest, in my opinion.
I think that's very, very valid, Jack. And I absolutely adored this episode. Even the meta thing that took me out just temporarily until I realized there was so much more to it. I still absolutely loved this episode. And I think when I do go around to rewatching this again, and I think I'm going to rewatch this one quite a few times, I think this is going to quickly become a real, like, sit down unironically with a tub of popcorn and just be like, you know what? I just want some Doctor Who comfort. I want some more 2D joy in my Doctor Who. And okay, I'm going to give it a 9.5. I'm going to give it that cheeky 0.5. I just loved it.
I'm just going to go straight in with a 10.
Hey! Absolute cinema.
It really was. Like this is what Doctor Who should be.
It felt good. I don't think it's felt like this for a little while, personally. So it was really nice to just go, that's Doctor Who right there. So yeah, lovely. Okay, any final thoughts? Anything else you want to add to you two?
I think that's it. I mean, if we keep discussing, you'll have nothing to say on that other podcast you're on. Yeah,
true. Yeah, if you want to hear us talk about more, you can catch me and Robin on the Who Knew podcast with Josh Carr, friend of the show. I guess without further ado, then let's head on over to our listeners' thought. Let's head on over to the Space Time Telegraph. Space Time Telegraph.
Were you really that annoyed by Robin's little?
Oh yeah, so annoyed by it.
I'm surprised
I'm putting it back in this week.
No, if you're going to do it, put Matt Smith in there saying Space Time Telegraph. Right, okay, so let's head on over to, first of all, Twitter, where I posted the absolutely gorgeous thumbnail that Star's been working on for weeks for this episode.
This artwork is beautiful, Star. Thank you so much.
Absolutely amazing. So good that Josh Carl wanted to use it as well. First one comes from Jake Mancuso, friend of the show, fan art guy himself or themselves. This episode was super fun, very creative and visually pleasing. It feels creepy and new, but keeps that bit of Doctor Who magic. I also think it's a nice continuation of the Doctor and Billings dynamic. Definitely one of the best episodes of the new era. Keep them coming. Very nice. Next one comes from friend of the show, Philip Hawkins, a previous guest before on Battles and Fandom and the regular podcast. Phil says, loved it. Fun concept, well executed. They walked the line just right on several aspects too. Just the right amount of acknowledging the prejudice of the era without it getting in the way of the story. Just the right level of nerdiness portrayed in the Doctor Who fans as well. Next one from Joshua Carpenter said, it's the best 50th Doctor story we've had so far. Quick off the press of viewing, lol. Not only is the main threat plot easily the best Pantheon story to this era, the show manages the little bits of magic that Doctor Who that makes Doctor Who what it is. My mind immediately goes to the "Does it bring you hope?" line in the diner, and the time given to show the turmoil Reggie is in after his loss. Hell, and the fourth wall break. Yeah, it's bigger, but I think it's intentionally a pause of the story to let fans be seen. It's classy and class. Fuck it, I have to say, Jack was right to be hyped. Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was right. How dare you? How dare you? And I claim this episode. I claimed it for me. Other ones say from Matthew Anthony Bates, say definitely a win. And Scarab 500 says one of my favorite episodes in years, an absolute blast, 10 out of 10. Okay, next on over on Blue Sky, we've got some nice ones here. We've got from Iris Prindle saying, I liked it a lot. It was a very light-hearted, very fun episode. I could see it being a lot of people's comfort episodes. Marquise said, liked it, but a little too Idiot's Lantern. Don't see that person.
I can see it at points.
Yeah.
I think if you did think that it was going to do the trap on a film reel ending, I can see where you see some parallels, but aside from that, wouldn't agree.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's interesting, though.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's something I hadn't considered, but yeah, totally, you know. Andrew Walker says, of course the Doctor would hate how Blink is regarded as the fan favourite when he's barely in it. I need this. This is what the skit should have been this week, us saying like different episodes where the Doctor just becomes more and more horrified by what they are. You know, like, oh yeah, no, my favourite, again, like I said, you know, Heaven Sent's my favourite. Like, fucking hell, guys. Jesus Christ. Next one comes from John. Love the meta bits, but then I always will. Making a huge deal but don't make me laugh for it then to not be the payoff of how to beat him was a bit odd. Once again, looks spectacular, and it seems that the bulk of Disney money must have gone to Series 15. True, yeah. And then, finally from Blue Sky, it's Enemy of the Podcast, Catherine Weaver. I'm a huge cynic and not a fan of how RTD2 has gone so far, and yet this was the most fun I've had watching it. The meta bit was the only bit where I stopped having as much fun. I think the fans could have been a bit more 3D. The section pulled the episode to a bit of a standstill. I was surprised. It was a surprise, but a bit superfluous. I won't lie. I really engaged when the episode had moved past it. Plus collection sets in the background, and they all say blink. Not one the Doctor falls. Not even a case of Androzani. Hashtag normie representation matters. At Enemy of the Podcast, the light in our lives. And goodbye, Blue Sky. This one comes from YouTube at CRPalStuck2966. Regular contributor from YouTube. Couldn't say the word there. I enjoyed it quite a lot. I guess I'll organise my thoughts in bullet points. I do find all three of the Doctor fans unanimously agreeing on the favourite episode kind of silly. If Lux had done his research in the in-depth of our Doctor Who or Doctor Who Twitter, he would know that there would be three different answers and they would all be screaming at each other. Their story was the best. I think the episode does a decent job addressing that the Doctor and Belinda are not white in segregation era 1950s. I appreciate the Pantheon of Gods wasn't just for season 40, series 14, season 1, and the Doctor is continuing to face off with gods. I I'm now even more confused on what a harbinger is, since our 3 examples are a kid who was explicitly Maestro's son, a woman who presumably just got hijacked by Sutek, and a movie theater ticker sign. So what is a harbinger? Now, the amount of effort with animating Mr. Ring-a-Ding was incredibly impressive. I really have to thank all the animated and CG artists for such a captivating episode. Lovely. Okay, we had a couple more over on the Time Siren Discord server as well. Oh no, we just got the one here, sorry. It's from the Queer Doctor, James York, who we absolutely love. As a first trip, it was really quite something. Also, which I think is very much needed, is the show to give a mirror to the fans on how sometimes we act a little bit up ourselves, especially with such negative comments of the last series. Again, this episode takes risks and it mostly pays off. Even my fiance liked it, and he is a non-Whovian. Lovely. Very nice. Thank you very much. And then I do actually have one that was messaged to me on Instagram as well, so I will do this one. Right. This one comes from another friend of the show, George Gydra, the Fairy Tale Doctor. Okay, so this may be one of the strongest episodes of the RTD2 era, and maybe of the modern era of Who in general. I'm a sucker for 2D animation mixed in a real footage, and honestly, the effects for Mr. Ring-a-Ding were amazing. The Doctor and Belinda are an amazing duo, and both Shooty and Varida kill it as always. I love their dynamic. Also shout out to my boy Alan Cumming. He did some amazing voice work. The whole scene of the Doctor and Belinda interacting with the Doctor Who fans could have fallen flat, but it actually really works. As Doctor Who fans, yeah, we can be annoying, but we do care and love the show and want to see it succeed, even if we have faults with it, and I feel that scene conveys that really well. The fact that at the end of the episode, the fans are shown to still be there was actually kind of beautiful from a meta sense. The fans will always be here, even during hard times, given how worried people are for the show at the minute. That hopeful ending was really nice. My only issue I have is that I wish the episode was longer, had a longer runtime, but I wish that for most of this era. I wish some things could have been more explored just a little more, but genuinely one of my favorite episodes out there. Actually, no, one big massive complaint. They didn't mention the Happiness Patrol. Ring, ring, Candyman.
Damn it. Take your medicine, Jack.
I do think I did see one of the Sylvester McCoy sets, so it might have been the Candyman one. So, just saying, the technical might be one.
Damn it, he's going to be laughing now for hours.
We really should do the Happiness Patrol this year. We really should.
I'm curious. I'm curious. I only know it from that one meme.
But Robin, you have a character like Candyman. He makes sweets that kill people. He looks like Bertie Bassett. How would he answer the phone, Robin? How would he answer the phone?
Well, Jack, I suppose he would pick it up and say, Candyman.
Start. Editing star. Put the clip in there.
Candyman.
Right. Okay. And very finally, from an awful lot of running Gmail email account, we have our Thomas Beach essay of the week. Okay. So Thomas Beach Lux review / thoughts. How do you do, Jack? How do you do, Jack, Robin, and Star of the podcast? Let's go to town on this review. I'm not going to do the whole thing with Mr. Ring-a-Ding, even though I think that's a good impression. Lux was highly anticipated by myself and my mum. Seeing flash of an animated character breaking through the screen in the initial reveal trailer had me so excited. The time finally came, and yes, it was as great as I hoped. The setting was marvelous. Using so little to make a lot. The exterior of the Penarth Pier Cinema with some extra dressing and a nighttime setting made the story feel cinematic. The music was top notch with a 50s era instrumental and the latter fan favorite Who tracks. Fan favorite Who tracks. Highlights being the cartoon rendition of the fifth 15 in the initial animation sequence. I told you it happened. Belinda and the Doctor's characterization was also on top form. The seesaw of a dynamic kept things so fresh throughout. Loved the delicate exploration of race issues in the early 50s, specifically in the diner with the Jim Crow laws of segregation. It felt, however, for the Doctor to champion a non-interference standpoint. I sometimes wait for people to topple the world. Perhaps this is a holdover from Rosa, in which the Doctor interfered more directly. Discussing Mr. Ring-a-Ding, well, what is there to say? I adore the rubber hose, Cuphead animation style, and it felt almost seamless in the episode. It helped immensely that they had an animator from the 1980s Who Framed Roger Rabbit work on him. Robin, just like you said. I'll admit, I was caught out by the God of Light reveal and the fact that the bloody episode was called Lux Bloody Wrestle. All right, let's get to it. That fourth wall break. My impressions as I watched it were, it felt really indulgent, kind of poking fun at the stereotypical Who fan. I rolled my eyes in frustration at the "it leaked online" quips. It felt very cringe. On a second, third, fourth viewing, I noticed missing the dialogue. I noticed I missed the dialogue and stuff because of the awkward sounding mix and the haze of seeing it for the first time. In these thoughts now, yeah, this sequence hits. It's actually really sweet. I found my two best friends, etc. It did come from the heart. It reflected what the show has meant to me in recent times, inspiring my creativity and, of course, friendships with people within this podcast and beyond. I have a sense of being the bad guy for feeling negative about it in the first place. Of course not, Thomas. Of course not. We all feel things at the first view. Don't worry about that. I think it's totally valid what you felt. I think it's really lovely that you've come around on it. Overall, the episode was technically impressive, engaging, and just a blast to watch over and over. It's a solid 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
See, this is why I like you, Thomas. This is why I like you, Thomas. This is why I like you. A lot of people saying Jack's right this week. Should be happening more often. That's all I'm saying. Lisa Marie's thoughts next. An episode that has lived up to the hype. I've enjoyed the shift in the Doctor and Belinda's dynamic, especially the further understanding of the Doctor's character motivations. I felt there were strong side characters and, importantly, believable for the 1950s. It was fun seeing an usherette work in the picture house, as that's what my grandmother Helen worked as in the 1950s. No kidding. Loved seeing Mrs. Flood in these episodes. I'm hoping her cameos have an effective payoff. The special effects of Mr. Ring-a-Ding were impressive and impressed me a lot. The episode's exploration of race felt relevant to today's topics. As the news reflects, we are sadly moving towards a new form of segregation. My negatives. I'm not sure how the fans are relevant. Perhaps there were other ways Doctor Who could have broken the fourth wall, unless their specific inclusion to this is to be seen later in the season. But then, with the fans, it felt like it hadn't gone far enough. Despite the set dressing of t-shirts and mugs, I frankly seen better representation on my son's shelves. The mismatched DVDs and Blu-rays bugged even me. It felt like a basic jab at fans by Russell. Oh, interesting. I truly hope the episode continues on this high. I hope, the season continues on this high. Thanks again for hearing us out and giving us a ring-a-ding on the podcast. Keep on rolling and shine bright. Thomas Ring-a-Ding Beach and Lisa Marie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, as always.
I love that Lisa Marie has enjoyed the episode and still gives it what's for.
She's a very formidable woman, that Lisa Marie, that god of death. Let's move on, shall we? Let's head to the Cannon Buster. So for any first-time listeners, there you go, Robin. I'm addressing it. I'm saying it. Every podcast could be someone's first podcast. Same as every comic book could be someone's first comic book. The Cannon Buster is our ode to our friend Davis with his series Broke Cannon, where basically I bring into the playfield here a tasty nugget of information, something which is technically canon to Doctor Who because it exists out there, whether it be an official episode or expanded media. And I say we have to accept this as canon because it's either all canon or none of it is. So today we're talking about the story background from the Doctor Who poster magazine issue 8. Right. We're talking about another god of the pantheon right here, Robin and Star. We're talking about that old Shotek. Shotek. So yeah. Basically, although the form of Sutek in Empire of Death was a jackal, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Based on his, obviously previous appearance in Pyramids of Mars, animals associated with Sutek actually doesn't list jackal, weirdly enough, in this magazine, this poster magazine.
Mm-hmm.
The actual animals which are associated with Sutek, right, are a pig, a crocodile, a donkey, and a hippopotamus. A hippopotamus. So what I'm saying is, Empire of Death should have had a massive pig on the TARDIS instead of Sutek. So it should have been. No, I'm not making that joke. Actually, no, not doing it.
No, careful.
I mean, technically it does. Still got the word police on it.
Oh no, I was going to say it should have been the image of the black mold lady, but anyway.
Play.
I mean, given what I had to say at the start of this, yes, fuck the evil bitch.
Yeah, but yeah, there you go. So, Robin, which would you prefer? Sutek to be the image of a pig, a hippopotamus, a donkey, or a crocodile?
I mean, my thought just goes straight away to the wonderful hippo lady from Moon Knight, and that's just what I would love. But I love that character.
That's a good show. Moon Knight was such a good show.
It was quality.
So good. Yeah. God damn.
I'm gonna vote for the crocodile. I think that would have been a really cool fucking style.
That would.
Can you imagine? Well. Can you imagine though, like after Pyramids of Mars, if they brought him back and it was like Sutek, and everyone's like, "Why the fuck is he a crocodile?" Personally, I'm in donkey camp. Wouldn't it be really, really funny if it was just and it was Eddie Murphy voicing Sutek?
But Jack, they already made an ass of him.
Hey.
Oh.
Well, unfortunately, with the cannon buster, that does bring us to the end of the podcast. Hopefully, we can have ourselves our bodies being more corporeal and being more 3D going forward. Hopefully, we've done everything we need to. But for now, I've been Jack.
I have been Robin.
I've been here again.
That was Star. This has been an awful lot of running. And let's face it, if you want to get home the long way round, it's going to require an awful lot of running. Ta-ra for now. Oh, we're finally back to normal.
Yeah, I guess that's a good thing.
What's wrong? I thought you said being all Scooby Doo was too expensive.
It was. Just, I like being drawn like that. Childhood fixation, innit?
Same, but maybe that's a good take for the episode itself. Quality over quantity.
Jack's right. We can be grateful that it happened in the first place.
Thanks, guys.
No worries.
Looking back at this episode, at everything we've done on the podcast, I'm really proud of ourselves.
Yes, same actually. Seeing how we've come, that we've survived landmines and been turned into dust.
We're unstoppable.
Plus, being cartoon characters was pretty awesome.
Even if it did make me a little bit more forgetful.
Again, that's just you, buddy.
Yeah, some things just don't change.
Okay. Still, it really made me laugh.
No, wait.
Don't make me laugh!
Son of a